Lots of war going on outside, no man is safe from. I've been in this position more times than I can count. I still listen to my intuition, so I'm never down and out. But right now, this isn't going as I had planned. What kind of monster, what kind of man could withstand the force of the Clink with a single hand? I staggered because the power was so great. Initially, it was a return of what I had placed.
Hey guys, welcome to the lab. We're back with some more exclusive content. Sundaze with the Clink Room goes right now. My good friend Chris Cox, aka Hillside Goods, has blessed us with his presence. Chris, how you doing today?
Hanging in there, man. I'm doing well.
Good. Really exciting for me to get you in the lab today to kind of talk about your experience. Not many people have the unique distinction of being a Clink 1.0 artist, but you've been around the game a long time, so I thought it'd be necessary to get you in here to kind of retell your story. You've done some content with me in the past with Views from the Vault, but anyone who isn't familiar with you needs to get familiar with you, and to me you're the number one typographic artist.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, call it that.
Yeah, so just legendary work. And yeah, I had to get you in the lab. And not everything you've done has been typography. You've had stuff in the past that's not letters, right? So I don't want to
most of
put
it
you
has
in a
been
box.
letters. Most of it has.
Yeah.
It's just what I gravitate towards. It's just kind of my style.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about your background and kind of your artistic journey and kind of what got you started in the world of HatDesign?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the beginning of it would be like everybody else who's a designer. You start drawing a lot when you're a kid, and then you keep on doing that. And then you always think you're going to grow up and be a professional artist. Like that's going to be your career, right? It rarely works out that way, especially with just drawing, right? Kids are like, I like to draw. I'm good at drawing. I'm going to be a professional artist. Yeah. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, that's not really viable. So I got into graphic design in high school. I took a couple classes and some advanced classes, and then I went to college. Got a degree in graphic design and illustration. And I just got a job right out of college. I was lucky. Right out of the portfolio show, I got a job, I got hired, and I've been doing it steady for 23 years. I'm old now. I think I was 20 when I got hired. So I guess it's 22 years. I just turned 42. So I'm washed up, but I'm still designing logos.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't help but think about, where you're from. So Seattle, Washington, it's kind of known for its like vibrant art and cultural scene. Like how has that city and the surroundings kind of influenced your art and your design aesthetic?
A lot of it is like the Native American styles that's prevalent up here that you don't see a lot of other places. The colorways also like it's a lot of blues and greens, and like I like there's Salish brands of Indians who are like their main color aesthetic is like black, teal, red.
Right.
I always like that. I've just always been drawn to that totem pole stuff like that. I've always just liked the aesthetic, how graphic it is. You see those totem poles, like those are not detailed. I mean, they're detailed, but like it's a very bold graphic looks to them.
A very specific style, yeah.
Yeah, and I've always been drawn to that. I like how that looks. Aside from that, really, it's just the environment, just the colors. There's a lot of like rich colors, blues and greens and even browns, dark reds. If you're a fan of my work, if you've just kept up with stuff I do, a lot of it is like just deep, rich colors. It's not a lot of bright stuff.
Yeah. Your kind of mock-ups from like beginning to end is very unique in what I've seen. So I've got the pleasure to kind of take a look at some of your sketch work and your sketchbooks and stuff. You were the first guy I've seen actually show the direction of the threading and kind of directed in that sense. Like it's different than anyone I've ever seen. Like I've worked with artists that they take pencil to paper first and then digital and whatever, but like you have a really detailed kind of way to show the different flows and textures and stuff like that. Like is that brought from the professional world and like how you work as an artist, or what made you kind of do that? Because that really sets you apart to me.
I'd say it's probably twofold. It's my attention to detail, like I'm super into detail. Like I don't want to leave things open to interpretation for New Era. I want to make sure that they know exactly what I want.
Yeah.
But as far as like the sketches and the diagrams of the embroidery, that's directly from Casey at Clink Room.
Okay.
He sent me back when I did the first Sea Devils hat. There was a couple tweaks on it. There wasn't a lot, but there was a few tweaks that he wanted to make, and we went back and forth on it. You know, I was very adamant about the eye shape, and I redesigned the eye and everything. But in that process of going back and forth, he sent me the files that they had done and the files that I already had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And included in those files was this a sketch that he did of the embroidery layout. And so I didn't really ask him about it. I just assumed that that's how it's done.
All right.
So I've just always done it that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I just started doing that. And I was like, well, this is how Casey sends it to New Era. I mean, this must be just the most efficient way to do it, because he was an expert at it. I wasn't. So I started doing that for every logo, and it's always worked out well. I've never had any problems with embroidery because of the attention to detail. You send them the roadmap, basically, so they can't screw it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the only time, just recently, on that collab I did with Noble North, with Ryan.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I've done recently where I didn't do that. But we did it digitally, though.
Yeah.
So we still sent the blueprint to them, but we just did it in the digital file instead of drawing it out.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you talk about collaboration, so like I think about obviously your collaborations with the Clink Room, but you've also had some with Hat Club, the Capologists. Mm-hmm. I'm a little privy to the information with that, but Noble North, Team Collective. So like that kind of working in that space, like those present kind of unique challenges and opportunities. What kind of aspects of the collaboration do you find most inspiring to you when you approach different brands?
It really is just trying to find a common ground, I would say. You know, like a lot of it is just you're hustling, you're trying to like make connections, you're trying to network, you're trying to, because this all came out of the pandemic, right?
Oh yeah.
Because before that, I was just solid with Hat Club, and they would just put out anything I wanted to put out. Like literally, I never they never told me no to anything.
Yeah.
Which is it was a great place to be in, and they really trusted me and respected what I was doing, so it worked out well. I know I've talked to other designers, and it wasn't exactly the case with them, so I'm grateful for that. But when Hat Club shut down the customs because of the pandemic and the China shipping issues and all that, it was just about hustling, trying to find other people you could collab with who had the ability to get hats made, building relationships, networking, and then, but also you don't want to necessarily work with everybody. You still want to be picky. You want to be selective about who you work with. You want to do a collab with a brand that lines up with you. I wasn't trying to just work with anyone. Being somewhat selective, just so I don't want to make a hat just to make a hat. Like, we work together. Like when we started talking about it, it was well, let's do a letter form. Let's do one that's Toronto based. Let's figure something out that works well for both of us. Something that's interesting to me, something that you obviously would like to put out. And that's really the main goal, is to try to find common ground within the two brands and how you can merge together like efficiently. Mm-hmm. And like with the Noble North one, that was I wouldn't say the hardest one. It was actually one of the simpler ones as far as finding that common ground, because we're both kind of like nature-based, brands. Yeah. But it was more work because we did 4 of them at the same time. But aside from that, like that came together so smoothly, Yeah. So it's just a matter of just finding the common ground, really.
With the kind of like hat industries, like resurgence, so you talk about like pandemic, that's I think for the most part where a lot of new collectors kind of start in that recent popularity. What do you do to stay innovative in your designs to stand out in such a competitive market?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Just be you.
Well, I don't want to be innovative.
Yeah.
I want my aesthetic is to be classic and timeless.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to really break new ground. I want to make hats that will look good in 100 years. And then they could have also existed 100 years ago. Like I want that. That's where I want things to land.
That's where you want to stay.
Yeah.
So
I'm
like
not trying
what?
to innovate.
Fair enough. What type of elements do you prioritize then when you're creating like a new hat design?
I like it to. I want it to read as a silhouette first and foremost. I want
Okay.
you to be able to recognize it across the room. You know, and then obviously I add a lot of detail with the embroidery work. But I mean, you noticed, you know, if you've seen my stuff, a lot of it is one color.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just you know, like the old Yankees hats, like just the classic old baseball teams had just like
Yeah.
single colored hats. So I like to do that, but then I mix in the detail with the embroidery. And I mean, the most, not to keep going back to the Noble North, but that collab was the most colors I've ever used. I mean, everything is pretty simple for the most part.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because like kind of as long as I've known you, you've like just stuck to grays and greens as your UV, and it's
Only,
interesting now.
yeah,
Now it's coming back full around.
yeah.
When we saw like the rise of like the colored UV, like of 2020. Now I think it's come full circle, and then even for me, like I don't really make anything. 90% is grays or greens, but that's been your rule since the beginning
Yeah,
of when I've known you. So it's kind of awesome to kind of
That's
see
it.
that.
Yeah, when that whole colored UV thing took off, you know, with the pink bottoms originally, and then
Mhm.
everything just sprouted from that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I didn't like it necessarily. I thought some of them were pretty cool. Like I think the pink bottom on the navy on the original Yankees was nice. That was a great hat. That's the reason the whole trend sparked, right?
Yeah.
But it was not something I would wear. It's just I can appreciate it. I really liked it, but I wouldn't wear
Yeah.
it. And so the same thing is like when all the UVs started popping off with all the crazy colors. Like I appreciate it, but it's just not for me. And I've always tried to just make things that I would wear.
Yeah. Looking back, like, do you have any pieces or any designs that you kind of hold up there as kind of your favorites?
Sea Devils for sure is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what got me in the game, you know, and it's a pretty solid logo, you know, to be the first one. It came out really nice. It's dropped in probably 5 colorways now, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's just I don't know. It's a favorite of mine, but I got a lot of favorites. Like I don't, you know, because I'm picky. I don't make things that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to pick one. It's like you picking your favorite child or whatever. I got a stack of hats over here, but this is where my current rotation is always like right here next to this. Happens to be where I'm sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So like this Barbados one is one of my favorites. It's kind of slept on, you know, because I mean the embroidery on that's nuts.
Yeah.
To look like the beard and the mustache. This is one of my favorite, most modern ones, like recent ones. This one came out beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, that's through Team Collective. This was like a loser from the lids competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
I came in like second place, and then I just approached, you know, Team Collective. I was like, let's make this hat, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. So you know, I mean, even this one, like, this is one of my favorites. You know, I probably wear this one maybe more than anything. It's just so versatile, you know. But it's hard to pick one, I guess, is the answer. I like almost all of them, you know.
Yeah. Hopefully, the recent Sea Devils coming out with Hat Club is gonna signal the resurgence of the design collective, because that was fun. And then I think back to the hockey stuff that you did. Mm-hmm. Just legendary work.
Yeah, I hope it comes back. I think it's a good step in the right direction. I mean, it's the first custom they've put out since the pandemic that I'm aware of. You know, as far as like actual like new logo, not new logo because it's an old logo, but like as far as from a custom designer.
Yeah, they keep doing like the Skull Chief here and there, so you'll see it come back. But yeah, not like a standalone.
Yeah.
Hat. Like I mean, unless you count Justin's mask, maybe.
Yeah.
But
for the most part, it's all licensed these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah.
It took a long time to get the Sea Devils to come out. You know, I've been in contact with John at Hat Club. literally since the pandemic. Like when they shut down the design collective, I just stayed in touch with them. You know, I didn't burn any bridges. I didn't get upset about it. You know, it is what it is. I know some other designers handle things differently, but I was like, I might as well just keep in touch, keep the relationship intact. You know, why not? And then maybe one day it'll come back and I'll be in a good position to, you know, drop another hat. And then here we are. Finally happened. So hopefully it keeps on going.
Yeah. Do you remember what first drew you to the Clink Room? Like, how did you get introduced to them?
Yeah, I remember exactly what it was. I don't remember how I found it. I don't remember how I stumbled on it.
It's got to be plus 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I stumbled across the Clink Room is when it was a blog format, and it was behind the scenes of all the, you know, the branding of the minor league baseball teams.
Yeah.
And I just liked it. I like the look behind the scenes of such a major branding, right? You don't get to see that a lot. It's not out there very much.
Yeah.
And you could communicate with them directly, Jason and Casey. And, you know, it was just nice to see. And I remember, I've said this before on a different podcast, but they would include things that were like personal. You know, it wasn't just the project. Casey included some pictures in a post of like he's carving like, it was a wood carving of it was a guitar, violin or something like that. But it was like the end of it was like a bear or something. I don't even remember exactly. But I was like, this guy does a lot of different things. This is interesting to me. And I just I'd check it, you know, every week, see what the new posts were. And then once they started doing the contests, I was like, oh, this is something I should look into. I should probably submit something.
Yeah.
And it took off.
I think that's like one thing that really they don't get a lot of credit for. Just kind of like the art direction and the tips that they give artists that, you know, without like working at like a firm or something that like that they give to people. You know, you just kind of sign up, and yeah, there's gonna be times where your stuff doesn't make it, or you don't always get what you want, or sometimes, you know, they'll change your colorway, you know, hopefully for the better or with the intentions of making your design better.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that kind of feedback that is given to these artists to really work and get better. I don't think they necessarily always get the credit for that.
I mean, I can't imagine having to, you know, deal with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Casey seems like a saint to be able to handle the volume of submissions is insane.
Yeah.
And it probably takes him a few days to get back to you, but it seems like he does get back to you from what I've heard. And I don't know, not to be negative, but I'm sure there's a lot of trash that gets submitted. And he's probably just as nice and polite and helpful to those people as he is to people who, like, you know, established designers. So, I mean, I don't know how he could possibly keep up.
Yeah, it's to keep it running for this long. 6 hats every week, you know, 10 hats, hit the crits. You know, some make it, some don't make it, and you know, people can talk about, you know, some people making it more than others or whatever. But like what you talked about, like it's some people are probably easier to work with than others, and you know that's just part of the game. Like if you're easier to work with, then you might get your stuff in there more often. But the consistency is crazy.
I mean, working with people is, you know, that's a big part of it. Not many people are really like great at taking critiques, you know. Because you put a lot of time and effort into it, and by the time you send it off to him, you're probably thinking this is dialed in, and then he hits you back with some changes he thinks will benefit the work. And I know personally, I'm not great at that. Once I submit something, I think I'm like, this is dialed in, like, you know. And then I mean, he's never given me much feedback in that regard. There's been a little, few things, but I know if he was like, okay, let's take this in a whole different direction, I would be like, what the heck? I just be like, nah, I'll just start something new. You know, I feel like it's a skill to accept critiques, even if you don't agree with them.
Yeah. Well, moving, like speaking about that subject, but moving to the other side of it, like community engagement. Yeah. Like Clink Room has a strong community of hat enthusiasts, obviously. Do you do much engagement with the audience, and kind of does their feedback impact your work at all?
No.
I had a feeling you were going to say no. Yeah. So no one's ever given you like a suggestion or idea that's influenced any of your designs?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I'm not impervious to criticism, It's just I generally don't ask for, you know, I don't put my work out there very often before it's done.
Fair.
So, you know, when it's done, I'm happy with it. And if other people want to give input, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
But by that point, generally, it's kind of done already. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not part of my process to really put it out there for people to see and comment on before it's done.
Fair. That's fair.
Just kind of how I do it. Everybody's different, though. I mean, I think crowdfunding or not crowdsourcing input and comments and feedback is very valuable.
Yeah.
You know, like on the Views from the Vault Discord, a lot of people do that, and it helps a lot of people. So I don't think that's unusual at all. I think it's pretty valuable. It's just not. I don't know. I don't do that kind of work, I guess. You know.
Fair enough. In terms of like you as a designer within the hat industry, are there any challenges you think that you face, and kind of like how would you overcome them?
Challenges is just really, I would say, getting hats made. Really, I mean,
Okay.
finding the avenues to get hats made is not as easy as it used to be, and it's getting better now. But I mean, I think part of the reason the Clink Room, amongst many other reasons, obviously, but part of the reason they've grown so much is because it was just a dude on the street who could get a hat made by New Era through Clink Room.
Yeah.
Nobody else was offering that kind of access, you know.
Nobody.
So I mean, the access is one of the hardest things to come, you know, to just even be around it. And so for Clink Room to offer that is why part of why they've succeeded so much. And that's the biggest challenge in my mind, is just getting someone to make the hat that you designed.
Yeah.
If you're not a known artist or you know, a designer who's been doing it for a while, if you say you hit up, I don't know, My Fitteds or somebody, and you're like, hey, let's collaborate on a hat, they're probably gonna be like, who are you? You're like,
yeah,
you know. So Clink Room lets anybody off the street just want to, if you got the chops, let's do it.
Yeah. And they handle the rest. They handle the legwork, the legal, the
shipping,
the logistics. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Are there any misconceptions you think about hat design or the creative process that are out there that you see kind of
misconceptions? I don't know. I think people maybe think it's easier than it is. I think that maybe that's part of it. But as with anything else, it's, you know, there's levels to everything. So I mean, there's, you know, there's the old lore of, you could send Casey your drawing on a napkin. If the concept is strong, he'd make it happen. So there's, you know, that barrier isn't really as strong as I think it used to be. But I remember a while back on, I think it was the Fitted Hat Society, there was a big dust up about a designer. What's a designer? Someone who just picks colors versus someone who designs a logo. So there's always people who, you know, feel a certain way about that, but to each their own. I mean, designer is not, it's a broad term.
Yeah.
It's a very broad term. So just if someone doesn't design the logo itself doesn't mean they're not a designer, you know.
Yeah.
People who get all, you know, upset about that, I wouldn't put much, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, those people they're just being kind of, I don't know, they're just petty, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that comes, they're just like, they're being insecure, I think, about it, or want to downplay someone or take them down a notch, which isn't necessarily a good thing.
And there's no reason for it. There's plenty of room in this game for everybody. Like, you don't need to like hate on other people's stuff.
Exactly. Do you have any advice you would give to any aspiring hat designers or artists looking to kind of break in?
I would say maybe work on solidifying a style, a personal style.
Okay.
I think that you cannot go wrong by having a signature look. You know, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people out there who can do everything. You know, jack of all trades.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm an illustrator too. Like, I can draw mascots and all that stuff, but like, it's just not the lane that I'm in.
Yeah.
I chose to go the typographic route. So I think that would help from the beginning, as long as it's a strong lane that you've chosen and you're good at it and you work hard to develop it. I think, I would say just try to narrow it down a little bit, and, you know, pick a lane, and maybe if it doesn't work, you know, choose a different one. But I would say don't try to do everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
establish your brand basically.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you for doing that. We also have some things to cover in terms of the Sundays with the Clink Room festivities. So let's kind of do that. So just a reminder, these 6 designs we'll cover end at midnight tonight. So you have a chance to sneak your pre-order in before they hit production. And yeah, let's go through them. So very festive lineup today. So these are all Christmas designs. So Christmas is right around the corner, and these are set to end tonight. So we have starting with Stocking Stuffers by J Matz, Tough Cookie by Max Almeida, and Christmas Time by Rafael. Any thoughts here?
I don't know. You go first.
All right. So for me personally, I'm really mad at myself about Stocking Stuffers because I've pitched this idea every year to Tony.
Really?
And for whatever reason, we don't time it right, or we don't get it out in time. But yeah, I've always wanted a dunking Santa Claus.
It's a great theme.
Yeah.
Why haven't you guys done it?
I'm the guy that just spits him ideas all the time, and I'm not good at following up. So I have like just like a pile of stuff that I want like to get done, and I don't know. Like maybe we got to work on our communication. So like sometimes he'll be like, yeah, cool, and then
sometimes things just fall through the cracks.
Yeah, and then he'll show me like a sketch. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Like months later. So yeah, and sometimes with artists, I I'm very conscious of like not trying to rush him with certain things. Like if it's like let the ideas kind of happen naturally. But yeah, dunking Santa has always been like a top thing on my list. But he took it to the next level. He put the stocking there and then has an elite pun, stocking stuffer, and he's stuffing it down. So it wasn't the exact idea, but I've always wanted like a dunking Santa with something.
It's a legit concept, like you said. Putting the stuffing or the stocking in there that ties it all together. Yeah.
So he's one up me in that one. He's two up me because he's actually got it made. So shout out to J Mats for that. Tough Cookie, I love this one. He's the gingerbread guy, doing the deadlift. I don't love the shadow, but I can see how it kind of works well with the rest of it. Yeah.
Kind of grounds.
And then Christmas Time. I mean, Rafael's kind of like that guy that's known for using shapes with animals.
Animals in the circles, right?
Yeah, circle, square, triangle. He's done them all, I think. It's a little bit scrunched, I feel, maybe.
Yeah. It's a little muddy.
Yeah, but
there's a little too much going on, but I'm sure they'll simplify that at some point.
Yeah. And I can't tell. Is that a chrome under? Ideally, I wouldn't want that to be a chrome under. Gray under for me.
Yeah, beige. I don't know.
Yeah.
Off-white. I'm on an iPad. I can't really see them that well.
Yeah, it looks like it's off-white. I hope it's not. I mean, it's possible just to kind of mimic snow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're pretty solid. If they do the gingerbread guy like kind of like semi-raised and then just have a super raised for the icing, I think it would add like extra to it. And
I agree 100%. If they do the icing lines extra raised above, that'll add so much depth to it.
Yeah.
And I think what's your opinion on holiday themed hats?
I like them.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand like people don't necessarily like the fact that you can only wear them for a couple months, but I'm a person that only wears a hat once or twice and then I'm done with it. So like it's not like I dispose of them. Like I hoard them obviously, but like I'm to the point where I don't buy like one hat so that I can just wear it over and over again. That's really bad to say, but
that makes sense though. So if you're only going to wear it a handful of times anyway, you can get those wears in during December.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't been good about it this year of pulling my Christmas stuff out because it just ends up at the bottom of a pile in the back of a room somewhere.
Yeah,
but I do like
set aside all year, and then you got to go find it.
Exactly. But I do like a good Christmas hat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say the same thing about other. Like I don't necessarily like Easter because I just don't like that color palette. Like I don't like pastels generally.
But you like Halloween though. You like a lot of like black with bright colors for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh hell yeah. Neon green, neon orange, volts, infrareds. Yeah, that's my jam.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I like a good Christmas hat. I think like because Christmas you could just wear it all December. No one's gonna say nothing to you.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I just realized I have like one semi what I would call holiday hat.
Okay.
And it's not even really a holiday hat, but like this joint.
Oh yeah. You call that a holiday hat?
To me, it's like Halloweenish, you know.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay.
But again, with my vibe, it's very like dark.
You could wear that year round though.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, it's the only. I don't know, maybe because of the blood or whatever. The werewolf with the blood looks a little.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you could definitely wear it year round, which I do.
Yeah, I think Aurelian did the art for that too. So
yeah, he's killing it, man. Yeah, he does all those. Clinker. Yeah, he's great at that.
Yeah, like this cardinal hat you could wear year round potentially. It doesn't necessarily scream Christmas to me.
It only does in context. If you didn't tell somebody it was Christmas, they would probably think that.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, cool. And then let's see the other three. So we got North Pole Fury by COD and Obvian. We got Red Nose by again Raphael, and then Seasons Creepings by Wind Studio. You have any initial thoughts here, or you want me to go first again?
My opinions are always personal preference, so I would probably wear the North Pole, the blue one.
Yep.
But it looks like the artwork is pretty well done from what I can tell. Again, I can't see it great. I'm getting old. My eyes are all starting to get shot too. But yeah, I mean, the artwork looks like it's done pretty well.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. So you're on an iPad, but the Seasons Creepings, if they can nail the details that they want to express in here, like each tooth is individually lined on that skull, on the three skulls. Yeah. So if they can nail it, that thing's gonna embroider crazy. Also even the leaves, there's nothing simple about them. I think they're like, like 4 or 5 colors. Green, textures.
Yeah.
That thing could go crazy.
Yeah. And the red nosed, that's pardon the pun, is on the nose for Christmas things.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks like it's pretty well done. I don't see any problems with that.
No.
Yeah, and I mean that's definitely a Christmas hat, though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean that's like the Christmas hats of all Christmas hats.
Yeah.
Like even like yeah. So like talking about that North Pole Fury, like that's you could wear that all winter.
Yeah.
No problem. Like I don't mind like winter hats too. Like
it's got a green UV.
I believe so. Yeah.
I do like that. I think that's a good color combination. I think that's a smart
move. Sky blue and green.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, green works on everything except green.
Yeah.
Like green is cheat code. Like now, just if you want your hat to look classic looking, green is the way to go. If you want to just balance out a crazy color up top, you just go gray. So
yeah,
I think that's the cheat code now. But
I don't know about the season's greetings as far as like just wearability. Like I don't know who's gonna buy that and wear it a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I'm not trying to I'm not shitting on it, but
yeah. I mean, it's skulls, so anyone metal like it.
It's holly, basically, right?
Is that what it is? That's not mistletoe. Is it
mistletoe? I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm not good with these kind of things.
Well, that doesn't mean other people aren't going.
Yeah, mistletoe hats is like you're liable to get like canceled. Yeah, like oh look at me.
You're gonna end up in HR.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not good with all the different plant names, but yeah, I believe it's mistletoe, but it could be what you're talking about, holly. So,
I mean, it's probably mistletoe. It's Christmas. I bet it is.
Yeah. So, kiss me or die. Seasons Creepers. Yeah. But yeah, so get your Christmas hat fill in. Yeah, you have a chance. So these will be ready for you for next holiday season. But again, man, I can't thank you enough. You've been really gracious with your time and agreed to do this right away. And really glad to have you as a part of this community. And you've been really great to me. So really appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully this gets you introduced to a lot of people that need to know about you. So this was super necessary, man.
Appreciate you, man. Maybe I'll get a couple followers out of it.
But no, keep doing what you're doing. I've always been a big fan of your work, and we're long overdue for a sequel. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, for Leon and Chris, we're out of here. Peace.
Return of what I had placed, but now it's been multiplied and vanished without a trace. How do you hit what you cannot see? But wait, how can I hit me? What kind of
Brought to you by VFTV.